Hot Mike is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo. It's the best start in conference history in the Division I era for the Bison men's basketball team. Head coach Dave Richman joins us in studio this morning. Plus, Senior Bowl practices begin today. Hot Mike begins now.
Really, Dom?
No.
I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. I was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Izzo.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mike. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to We Got Some Fun edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning, everybody, to our friends in Sioux Falls, KMBN in western South Dakota, and all parts in between at Inforum.com. Happy Tuesday, everybody. The 27th day of January is here. The final week of the month of the first month of the year is almost done. Processing that as time keeps getting faster the older I get. That's what I heard, and it's very accurate. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. We got a lot to get to today, including a special in-studio appearance by the men's basketball coach at North Dakota State. They're actually recording the coaches show now. They had some travel issues, as you've seen. I believe I saw the stat. Shout out to old forum reporter Kyle Potter. Does an awesome job covering all sorts of travel for a couple of different websites. And he reported yesterday there were 11,000 flights canceled on Sunday. Think about that, 11,000. That is outrageous. And to our point, why it's relevant, the North Dakota State men's basketball team was one of said 11,000 trying to return from Tulsa after their game Saturday afternoon with Oral Roberts. We had heard the game already had gotten moved up because of the impending weather, and the Bison got caught in the midst of that, so they were unable to get home on Sunday. We normally tape the show on Monday, and obviously they were still traveling yesterday, so therefore another day, which if you're going to have any sort of issues, this might be the week to do it, since NDSU has just the one game this week coming up on Saturday. They go back on the road just to drive this time to Vermilion to take on South Dakota. So with all that being said, the men's basketball coach is here now, so he's going to stop over and give us some time in studio. So that'll be fun. That's coming up here in just a little bit. So we'll chat about his unbeaten team that is cruising right now on top of the Summit League standings. We'll get the bracketology stuff out of the way here in a second because the newest is out. And it has a, I would say, rather intriguing matchup for the Bison men. We'll get to that in just a little bit. For you football nerds out there, today's a big day, especially you draft nerds, because today we got a couple things. A, the East-West Shrine game is tonight. Yes, there's football on a Tuesday for you in Frisco. Is the first of the, or the second, I should say, of the college all-star games goes tonight down at the Star. And on top of that, Senior Bowl practices begin today in Mobile, which are televised as well on the NFL Network starting at about 1:30. And Bison quarterback Cole Payton will be part of that, which we'll get to that coming up later on in the show. So for those that need your fix, as we're in between now the conference championship games and the Super Bowl, well, here swoops in the college all-star games to fill that void for you. So we'll dive into that a bit coming up later on in the show, including some of the other FCS guys that might have a chance to really impress, besides the North Dakota State players that we know of, with Bryce Lance, who's not participating in the East-West Shrine game, getting ready for the Combine, and obviously Cole getting ready for the Senior Bowl. We'll get into that coming up later on in the show as well. It's a busy high school night, lots going on. We'll get to that too as the EDC race heats up. We've got a couple of big games we're going to have on our air tonight. We'll give you the details on that a little bit later on in the show. But we'll begin from down in the Twin Cities. The Timberwolves were playing the back end of back-to-back games. Of course, their game Saturday was postponed with Golden State after the unrest that happened on Saturday morning. That they came back, played on Sunday. Warriors blew them out. Then playing last night in a scheduled game without Steph Curry, without Draymond Green. Anthony Edwards decided that his foot was bugging him and needed a day off. So you signed up to go. You didn't get any of these guys playing last night at Target Center. What you did get, though, the Wolves were down till Naz Reid decided to take over. Naz did not score in the game Sunday. Not ideal if the Wolves are going to win any basketball games. That's a monster throwdown. They actually got some more Bones Highland was great again. Shout out to Bones for giving them some minutes. Naz knocks down a big shot. They're up by 10. By the way, I really like the NBC/Peacock scoreboard. In transition, Rudy gets up to Julius Randle for the throwdown. Got the lead up to 12. It's up to 14. Randle in the lane and the foul there. Boy, that was a tough shot. Julius was good last night at 23 points, just 18 minutes of work. Jaden McDaniels hits a three, puts the Wolves up by 19. Then they're running after that. Again, Golden State was not playing. I mean, this is even less guys that were playing in the playoffs last year against Minnesota's. Dante hits a three. How about another one for Bones? A straight-on one there as the lead balloons up to 28. Bones had 17 points off the bench last night. It's a rout for the Wolves. 108 to 83. You know what? When you've lost 5 in a row, you'll take however you can get it. Don't care who's playing. This was the Wolves, or the Warriors 5 last night. Guy Santos, Quentin Post, Moses Moody, Pat Spencer, the lacrosse player, and Brandon Pochemski. That was the Warriors 5. No sign of Draymond. No sign of Steph. Klay Thompson doesn't play there anymore. Kuminga doesn't even go because he wants to get traded. You know what? You don't apologize. Wolves get the win, though. They go back out on the road. They've got Dallas coming up tomorrow night. So a good win for the Wolves on a Monday night. This is the up-to-date Western Conference standings with the Thunder still way out in front of 5-game lead over San Antonio and Denver with the Rockets, Lakers, and then the Wolves. And you see the play-in teams there as well through 7 through 10. As the NBA trade deadline now is a week and change out. So if there's going to be some movement, and we all anticipate the Wolves are going to try and do something, Tim Connelly rarely just sits on his hands and sees what's going to happen. We'll see, because they need another guard. They need some big man help. I don't know what assets they could potentially move with, but that's what's out there, considering losing Naw was tough. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was a really good player for Minnesota, and his departure has affected it. Mike Conley is a shell of himself now. For some reason, Chris Finch doesn't want to play. Rob Dillingham, Terrence Shannon's hurt, so they've got to figure out something there with those guys they drafted just over a year and a half ago. So we'll see in the upcoming 7-8 days of what they've got going on. All right, let's do this now before the head coach gets here because he doesn't want to talk about it. I don't blame him. Every Tuesday, we've been following this now with the ESPN experts, so to speak, on predicting the field of 68, both on the men's and the women's side. And we can start doing it. If you didn't want to do it at the first of the year, I understand. No conference games have been played yet, and they're basically just taking flyers on who they think would be in the tournament. But now we are at a spot where we've played, for NDSU, they played half their league schedule. Bison women are a game away from going to the halfway mark, that we have at least an educated opinion. There's still some games to be played, and frankly, in this league, you have to win the conference tournament to make the NCAAs, certainly on the men's side. The women's side, we could have some flexibility this year, depending on how good the Bison and Jackrabbits net rankings end up being. So now that we're here, January 27th, we probably now can start paying attention, right? I mean, with FCS football, we're paying attention at least a full 6-7 weeks out, and we are right now from Selection Sunday 6. So I think we can start doing it. So on the men's side today, Joe Lunardi put out his latest bracketology this morning at 7:30 this morning. And on the right side of your screen, he has the North Dakota State men not as a 15 seed or a 16 seed. He has the Bison men as a 13 seed. 13. And facing the Kansas Jayhawks out of the Big 12 Conference in a 4-13 game in Philadelphia. I don't know. The level of excitement on that one would be palpable for numerous reasons. A, it's Kansas again. The Bison obviously played KU in the NCAA tournament way back when, 2009. Heck, they've played Kansas a couple other times in the regular season. Grant Nelson's quasi-college debut in front of no fans in Fog Allen Fieldhouse. He was unbelievable there in December, I want to say, of 2020. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And in Philadelphia, all-time great city, let's go. Make this happen tomorrow. That would be highly, highly fun. Again, though, 13 seed for the Summit League is almost unheard of. The Jackrabbits got there when they were unbeaten a few years ago with Baylor Shireman's team. Oral Roberts, I think, was a 12 with Max Asmus's team the year after that. The Bison, I believe, have never been seeded that high. Like 14 is their highest, and they got when they beat Oklahoma, I want to say. I have to double check on that. But that's quite the respect for the league. I want to just look here, because yesterday when Kolpak and I were talking about the net rankings, and that goes into the seeding process as well. How many quad 1 wins, 2 wins, and that's, I know, really in the weeds for a lot of fans. Are just their eyes are going to glaze over to the back of the heads on what that actually means. Yesterday in the net, and this hasn't changed, St. Thomas is at 114, and North Dakota State is at 117. That's pretty darn good. Pretty darn good for the league that typically is seeded in the 15, 14, 16 range. Heck, the last time the Bison played in the actual tournament, 2019, they were a 16. 2020, I'm intrigued to see what they would have done there. I think they would have been a 12 or a 13 the way they were humming at the end of the year. So that's on the men's side. On the women's side, Charlie Cream, who does a great job projecting that, also has North Dakota State in the field. He's been consistent on this since basically since the middle of non-conference play after the Bison lost to Nebraska, that he's routinely had them there. He's got the Bison again as an 11. He has NDSU facing North Carolina State, a 6 seed, and that in Ann Arbor, Michigan. On the women's side, what they do in the first 2 rounds, that the highest seed hosts those games in those pods. So they would be in with Michigan and La Tech there as well. He also has South Dakota State listed as one of the first 4 teams out, along with BYU, Virginia, and Miami. South Dakota State is there as well. So that's important to note simply on how this goes the rest of the way in terms of the Bison and Jackrabbits, which we talked about briefly on the show yesterday, where if these 2 teams keep pedaling along and mowing teams down, and then let's just say the Jackrabbits beat the Bison in Fargo at the end of February, I would anticipate SDSU then has the higher seed, and maybe the Bison are on the first 4 outline. And then depending on what happens in Sioux Falls, the loser of if they do end up playing for the Summit League Championship, the loser then would have to sweat out the next few days after that. Because right now, not much has changed on the last 4 in here over the last 2 weeks, according to what Charlie Cream's got going. So, long story longer, because the 2 teams are in first, they are going to get the consideration for the automatic bid. But these are not sneaking into the tournament. Bison men as a 13 seed is worthy of standing. I'm like, all right, they've got some attention there. And the Bison women as an 11, this is not as a 15 or a 16, like you're a sacrificial lamb to play the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. That is not what these teams have done. Now, here's the last point on this. it's January 27th. So you can get all excited about it, like I did here for about 5 seconds, and then realize Bison men still have to play at St. Thomas. They still have to play at South Dakota State. They still have to play at North Dakota. They have all of those games. They have the game at South Dakota coming up. So all of those games are still ahead for them, which they could win them all, and then we're having a whole other conversation. Reality is that they may get tripped up there. We'll see. But there's still a lot of work to do. Bison women still have the Jackrabbits here. I would anticipate that the game in Kansas City, even though the Roos aren't what they were, that just stands out to me as a potential, not trap game. That might be difficult. Heck, they got to go still to Vermilion. And I know what they just did to USD at home, but teams on the road, that's going to be a challenge there. Other than that, I mean, we know the Jackrabbit game here. I don't anticipate them, frankly, having any issue with Denver or Roberts this week. They shouldn't if they're as good as this, where they've won 16 consecutive games. Man, fun to talk about, though, right now in late January, getting ready for the craziness of the next 6 weeks of basketball here in town. The two basketball teams on the north side are having a great year. Speaking of which, we got a packed show coming up for you here on this Tuesday morning. Our guest lineup is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Little change today, as we mentioned. Coming up here in just a few minutes, Dave Richman will join us in studio as we're recording the Bison basketball show that airs tomorrow night here on Extra. David will join us about 9:35. I'm sure he's got fun stories to tell about the travel to get back from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Fargo, North Dakota, and about the Bison sweep. It was a challenge in Denver, but they got the win, and then it was a downright blowout against Oral Roberts. So that's coming up here in a little bit. Mike McFeely will join us at 10. Mike normally joins us at 9:30. He was gracious enough to move his time slot a half hour back, and we'll talk to Mike about a bunch of topics coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, we'll get into some Senior Bowl conversation and a couple other topics surrounding the football world right now. I know Cole Payton did the interview circuit yesterday down in Mobile, which was interesting. I'll just say that, just watching a couple clips down there. And we'll discuss that coming up at around 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more here on a packed Tuesday show. So we'll take our first break. We come back, get you ready for a big night on the high school hardwood. Got a couple of fun games. We'll chat about that and a heck of a lot more. Hot Mike just getting started. We're back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KNBN, and Inforum.com. Welcome back, everybody. We got a big night of basketball tonight here on Extra. Got a doubleheader out in West Fargo. Horace and Cheyenne. Girls will tip at 5:45. The boys about 7:15, closer maybe to 7:30 tonight. And then on WDAY2, we got hockey tonight. Good one between Red River and Davies, with coverage beginning at 7 o'clock of that one. Apparently, you got your stuff already done. You want to do this now, David Richman? You can come on over. Come on. You're in studio. You don't need to worry about those. Don't worry. I'm serious. You're fine. All you're going to hear is me and Eric. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. So,
well, I don't mind hearing Eric. But if we're going to do a Q&A, I'm going to have to hear you anyways.
One take wonder? You got done with your...
Don't say that out loud. Now you jinxed it. Now next Monday, it's going to take 17 shoots, and Mike's going to be yelling and screaming and cursing at me.
So, first off, it's great to have you back. We were just visiting off air, and I was talking about it before you came in, the travels.
Well, I don't care about you, for me, you to say good to have you. I'm just happy to see my wife and kids, too, yes. You know. Gosh, you hate to throw anybody under the bus.
But
there's a certain airline and a certain...
I've already railed on him on this show.
Airport that just seems to be undefeated. But I said it. I was in the middle of a back seat of a small Uber with James and Jones late Saturday night on our way to the hotel, and I looked over, and Faith, I said it to Jones, has taught me, if this is the worst thing that happens to us today, it's a pretty darn good day.
So
we are back.
When you left Denver on Friday, they had already moved the game up on you?
So there was conversations even the day before. Phelps had been in touch with the league, and the officials were going to be there, and that was going to be second best scenario. One, that they were going to move it to Sunday. Two, we were going to be able to stay as is, and then the other option was obviously 2 p.m. And then as we were going from Denver to Tulsa, Corey, the head coach at Oral Roberts, said, hey, we're going to move this thing to 2. Doesn't look like there's any chance we play it at night. This will be our best case scenario, and it ultimately, honestly, ended up being a great scenario, especially the way it turned out.
For what we've seen weather reports. I mean, how bad was it in Oklahoma? I know, relatively speaking.
Again, you get a lot of great friends and relationships through this profession, and so I've done a really poor job. But when I was in Oklahoma, I was reminded about Kish, so I called Roger Kish, and he's like, I should swing over there, and he's like, yeah. I said, Roger, you're never going to get over here. The weather's bad. He looks at me. He's like, Dave, they don't know anything about what weather is, too. And to his point, he was right.
Yes.
It ended up being like just snow. It really did. Now, the only thing is they just can't get to the roads. They don't have the infrastructure, the equipment, the manpower, whatever it is to clear the roads. So, even on our way to the airport on Sunday, you could see some cars getting stuck. You could see some people trying to climb the hills, going backwards. But then you also saw some people in parking lots doing cookies. You saw some people going down sledding hills.
Jeez.
We're back.
Yeah.
You got a lot of appreciation for Fargo and the way we can handle things and the toughness, things like that. And they would probably laugh at us as they go through some things in the summer.
There's
as well.
no doubt, considering what the flip side of that is, what
Correct.
they deal with in June, July. In August, it seemed, though, the team rolled with everything that was thrown at them, though, from what it's on the outside.
That's always been our messaging, that, to eliminate excuses, embrace the challenges. And, we didn't have Damari the way he went down at the end of the Denver game. The quick turn. I didn't feel like we played very well at home against ORU, and I thought Oral Roberts was pretty engaged and pretty locked in. I know they didn't feel like they played great, at North Dakota, and so we got a really good version of them. And the combination just ended up being a perfect storm. And I thought we really, really defended. And I know the headlines, and it should be too. Tay Smith was, just hotter than hot. And that really gapped us. But, too, you saw the best version of us, Dom, where we were playing great defense leading to some great offense.
To have that kind of performance, especially how the game, you won Thursday, but I'm sure I didn't talk to you afterwards, but I know you got up big. Denver takes the lead. You end up winning the game. How did you feel leaving Denver? I know, hey, we won, but I was interested how that went.
Honestly, felt great leaving Denver. There's the metrics and all the things told us that, besides a couple other games, this is going to be one of the harder games left on our schedule. I think Denver's got a very talented outfit, especially offensively. And I was probably more surprised with we built like a 13 or 15-point lead in the first half. So that was probably more of a surprise. And I didn't love how we finished the half. That was and that just kind of gave some momentum to Denver. There ended up. I was even talking to Matt Larson last night on the radio show. Like that ended up being a really good environment and a raucous environment. Yeah, and I kind of figured that with the feel of us
with
and
you coming
and the history with some former players and Tim and all that. But I'm really proud of our guys just because Denver takes a lead, they tie it again late, and we just never flinched.
Yeah.
We kept responding and showed some great toughness and composure and some poise. And anytime you're going on the road and getting a dub, it's great.
So to have that and then travel and then have everything that was thrown at you and the way you played Saturday, man, you could have probably driven the bus if you wanted to.
I tell
back
you
home.
what, you're exactly right. Saturday about 5 o'clock, I was on an ultimate high right there, and again, it ended up being just going into it, just talking to some people down there. They're like, oh, this and. You're going to Denver. There's always a chance of that. You hear about the altitude stuff. It's the last time we're going there. All the things that go into it. And it's just a coach, right? Your antennas are up for a lot of things, and but very, very pleased with the way we were able to take care of business, obviously.
All right, we'll talk some more Bison hoops in a second. We were teasing. We got a big high school night here. I know you can't speak specifically, but out in West Fargo, there's some your neck of the woods. There's some pretty good basketball being played out there these days.
Yeah, this is great.
Huh?
Like I'll take the nice coffee and breakfast you got me for coming in studio, and as we're talking some high school hoops, I'll drink that coffee and. Looks better than your pretzels.
I got an apple. Don't you worry.
You can't eat pretzels before 10 a.m. Hey.
No? Is that against the rules?
That's against the rules.
Are you out recruiting now these days, or are you in the grind of it now? I know you were earlier in the year, but are you getting out still?
We're like Duke. We just acquire players. They just come to us. It's great high school hoops, and I will. You got a nice little hat in the background there. I'll bang the table on the old Cheyenne Mustangs. I got 3. I got 1 there now, and next year we'll have 3. And
Think about that. There you go. That's
well, the other part of that is I got one that won't be in high school anymore at all. That's where like the chrome on the top of my head, that's where all that comes from. My oldest one, well, she tests me. But yeah, no, it's great. It's great to, like you said, I can't comment specifically on any, but I think Horace, Cheyenne's gotten a couple big wins lately, and I know they had a slow start too. And just anytime as the basketball coach in town, yet you can see good high school basketball too. They're still, not much better than grabbing some popcorn and watching some high school basketball.
Can you do that even locally? I'm not trying to make you sound like you have a big deal, but people know who you are. Can you actually just go and sit and watch the game, or is it people are, Dave, how's it going?
I mean, you get a lot of that, and you get a lot of this time of year. It's been nice,
right.
A lot of the pats on the back and and those things, but. I think most people have a good idea too at the very end of the day why I'm there, and usually we have a group of parents too that are great too, that we can go and have a couple drinks beforehand and go to the games and just enjoy it too. But also some of that, like I embrace that is part of my roles and responsibility as a leader of this program and within our department.
All right, let's break. We come back. We'll chat a little bit more on Dave's weekend as the Bison swept against Denver and Oral Roberts, sitting in first place in the Summit League at 8-0. It's coming up. We come back. More Dave Richman in studio after this.
I think just like Dom's outfit, they're not always pretty. Sometimes they're really ugly. But just been all over Amazon and just about every site looking for these mustard pants.
My wife will tell you, she wants to burn mine.
People actually listen to your show.
They watch.
They
I
watch
told
it.
you. Yeah.
Play defense in that first half like Dom transitions to you after the game. It's way too long, way too lazy, but you got all these answers. I'm going to bring you over and have you do our non-conference schedule.
I'd love to. I'd love to go to Grand Canyon,
I would
man.
love.
Hey,
well, you
doing
can
that
come with.
game.
That's not the thing. I love when you're on Dom. You're so transparent. And I'm like, so two things are happening. That one, people are watching your show, listening.
Yes.
Right? That caught me a little off guard. I'm just being honest.
I love it when you get to see it actually in person. You're just marveling first off at yourself on television, right? That's pretty good.
I'm a really nice guy. Is basically what I took from I'm a really honest guy.
You know what that is? That's known each other for 20 years.
Correct.
We can have that kind of back and forth. So that's
Correct.
pretty darn good.
Oh.
Dave Richman here in studio with us this morning. You bumped McFeely. He's on after you now. So
I love
you're
it.
hitting lead off here today.
That is great. I need to let him know that. Or you can deal.
I will
with him.
definitely pass that along.
You can deal with him on that.
We got David Studio who's taping the Bison basketball show, which is on tomorrow night here on Extra after the travel mishaps of the NDSU men getting back from Tulsa. You mentioned earlier as well. That's the last. If last time playing at Denver, it was a heck of a way to go out with a win out there.
It was, and I was actually talking to Timmy before the game too, and I said, "Hey, when you took the job, did you know anything about it?"
I asked him about that.
Yeah, he said, "No, I showed up for a Halloween. I thought a Halloween party and find out." And he goes, "It changed our recruiting a little bit too." But I think that obviously the market of Denver, Colorado, is pretty attractive to some of those leagues and all those things, and hockey's a big part of what they're doing there, and and so.
Well, you were out there,
Tim.
too. I mean, the Broncos are getting ready to play for a
Yeah.
chance at the Super Bowl. The hockey team out there is really good. The Nuggets, last I checked, are pretty darn good. That's a tough market to compete for college basketball.
Yeah, no, it is, too, but also a really cool little market of everything that's going on. And so, Tim will do a good job there, and they're doing a good job there.
Is the basketball good? High school basketball in Colorado, from what you know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We took Oliver Junker
that's
from
right.
out there, and Jones was able to get out there and see him play too. And so I don't know enough. It's a different. We were such in the market for a high school big, and just getting some bodies like that, and through some different things we were able to see Oliver. But yeah, that's really all I know.
Email comes in. Dom, he asked Dave if he has any experience or knows Fred Hoiberg, the Nebraska coach.
Yeah, I do know Fred a little bit. Communicated a little bit with him through the Sam Griesel thing.
Yeah.
Followed up on some NIL things, with him a little bit, and I love watching him play right now. And I give him a lot of credit too. He's battled some tough seasons, but the way his son and the way Cale Jacobson are playing right now, they have some really good parts, but it still tells you like what goes into winning college basketball games, and you're even seeing it too. St. Louis right now is playing really good with 4 or 5 guys almost in double figures and a couple more averaging, and the ball is popping. Like there's still a way to win basketball games. It's more than just talent.
And St. Louis, that's Josh Hurts, who left Indiana State to go there when he was really, really good there. Nebraska and Michigan are playing tonight. That's 5-3 ranked in the country in basketball. Not football, basketball. That's pretty darn good.
The Big Ten's rolling right now, and they're going to let you know it too. I think it's 3 straight in football, or at least 2 straight. I know
that's 3,
and all those things. Now Arizona might have something to say about it, but and Michigan. I watched them the other day. Michigan's really good.
I watched Arizona last night. I watched them play the Jackrabbits before they came and played you guys, and I saw them last night. They're all right too.
We were in obviously for a extended period of time. We were in the O'Hare Airport. And the Bulls G League team, Windy City something, I don't know what but like there is a different level, and I think that's what got me too. Like when you see Arizona, you see Michigan, like there's some dude-looking guys. Like I mean, the shoulders, the height, the length, like there's a presence to them.
We had video last week when Grant was playing in Sioux Falls. Grant Nelson was playing there, and he had like 20 some odd points, but just like we watch Grant play here, just an absolute freak.
He probably blends in,
right? But it's just like it's not nothing. It's like he's not anything special, and that's I'm not saying anything derogatory about him. Just like the level of guys out there is crazy good.
Well, and I just think that's good for everybody to see. And how are you going to be different? What's your separator? Yeah.
All right, give us an update if you can. We have the video at the end of the game Thursday. You obviously win, but Damari didn't finish the game. What can you tell us about Damari's status right now?
He got his ankle, and he twisted it pretty good, and certainly never, ever a good thing, especially how important he is to us on and off the court, and his mentorship, his leadership, and we held him out on Saturday. And then I think it's going to be day to day. I really do. I thought, after and going into the Oral Roberts game, there was no way he plays against USD. I don't know if that's the case. There's been some good feedback with him and Dan, and but we also need to be smart too. And if it was going to happen, the fact that we only have one game this week is going to be somewhat of a silver lining. But at the end of the day, that we ultimately have to think big picture and just how important he is to us too. So there's no need to make any decisions until we need to make those decisions. But it is progressing a little bit better than we anticipated.
Did he land on somebody's foot? We didn't have a good replay on the television
like I
broadcast.
said, I politely asked the official who was observing that shot all the way down, because they're supposed to protect the shooter, and the official said, I watched it all the way to the ground, and then we were able to kind of, it's a tight angle, but Wes Offerman said he saw it too, where I think he just kind of comes down on his own on it.
Oh.
And, my assumption is, in college basketball, playing college basketball, you've sprained your ankle multiple times usually. And I don't know if he's done his right one before.
Really?
And because of that first one can be pretty significant, pretty painful. It doesn't respond. So, no ill intentions by Denver or anything like that. It's a basketball play, and we'll just take it day by day.
The luxury then you've had of having 2 point guards all year to turn things over to Stefanowicz to run it full time, then that's a nice luxury to have.
Well, it's certainly a nice luxury too, but we have some things going behind the scenes too with some other guys, and Emil Skuta came in and played a little bit like that, and that gives us certainly a different look. Like I said, hopefully not a long-term look, but the size, physicality, presence too helps us stay in the game, stay in the fight defensively. Riley Massey has done some of those things at times. And again, going back to what I said at the top of the show, when we can play defense with that kind of activity and tension and intentions, that really sparks our offense, and then everybody kind of becomes the point.
So Stefanowicz takes that corner 3, the shot clock going down. What's going through your mind?
Go in. Actually, it is so random. There's so many things going on in a game that I'm just thinking about, what do I need to be doing next. And as soon as he took that shot, we needed to set our defense.
Get back on D, right?
Yeah. And so it became a timeout situation, so we could change some personnel and make sure we were set a little bit too. But then you go back and you watch it in the moment, and again, we talk a lot about a lot of our guys too, and I thought I did a really poor job for a couple weeks of, but Andy's been so consistent, and this is 2 times now in league on the road where he has that 8 assists and no turnovers, and I think we talk a lot about Damari and Travion Carson and how Trayson Anderson's playing and the activity of all these guys, Tay Smith, but like Andy is so consistent, and Andy plays with a selfless vibe to get everybody involved. And that stuff is infectious, Dom. And people feel that. And the way we share the ball, the way we get others involved is pretty fun to watch.
Now, he was a scorer in high school, but watching that, did you know he was a playmaker like he is at the college level?
I love to disagree.
Okay, go for it.
I love to disagree with you. Obviously, in fact, we've been doing too much agreeing lately.
I noticed that on social media. Posted that. Yeah.
No, I've always thought Andy is a little bit throwback, where his head is always up, his eyes are always up, and now he has the ability to space the floor and catch and shoot and do some of those things, or he's gonna take what you give him. But I think, and Andy would probably tell you this, his preference would be to distribute first and get others involved. Yep.
So without Damari on Saturday, what was the decision to put Tay in the line? It looks like it's, by the way, the best move you ever made in your life, by the way.
It's brilliant, right?
Was that a no-brainer that Tay was going to
I think that was the biggest thing, is I knew he was going to make 8 threes if I inserted him into the starting lineup in that situation. No, I mean, it's next man up.
Yeah.
Tay had been making some great strides. And I say this, and I think there's other rooms for Tay to get on the court, but who are you going to take off? One of those things. And so Damari went down. Tay's the next man up. We bended some other things in the rotation to make sure we were protected in some areas. I thought the staff did a really good job of organizing us and organizing me. And Tay has been competing his butt off defensively. He's been rebounding the basketball great. But he's also showing these things too. And he hit 5 in the first half against Southern Illinois. He's had some heaters in practice, and he's capable of it, so fun to see.
So in that vein, you're worried about defense of the next play. Are you paying attention? Like, okay, he's made 3, made 4. Like, are you noticing that he's unstoppable in the first half?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm present, and it was probably his time to come out in the sub-rotation. I'm like, I'm going to let this one go a little bit. And Stragy's got it figured out, so he's going to him a little bit more. The guys got it figured out, so they're finding him in transition. And again, there's a clip, too. He hits, I don't know which one it was, 5 or 6, and he goes back to the bench. And just the joy, the smiles on our bench was really cool to see.
How was that on the bench, I guess, is maybe a better question. What's that to react like that?
It's the best. Yeah. And it's the ultimate best. And I just, again, I'm so proud of our program and culture right now. Like, we understand winning and the selflessness that goes into it, and we can enjoy each other's success. And I heard Schertz talk about this, the coach at St. Louis. This day and age, that's hard to find.
Well, and you mentioned this to me in a couple of press conferences as well, that winning isn't necessarily what everything's about right now, especially in men's Division I college basketball. Can you expound on that a little bit?
I believe I've said it. We prioritize winning, and that's not always the case. Yeah. And in a day and age of me, in a day and age of if I do this, I'm going to get that in the portal or that NIL. Yeah. I mean, it's harder to come by. But if that's your mentality, you're just not going to play for us. And we're pretty adamant and convicted in that in our recruiting process. If we see selfish behavior on the court, you're going to sit. The bench is the ultimate reminder, and then you're not going anywhere for portal or any of those things too. But the other thing too is we have a track record of guys going straight to pros, doing well here. Yeah. We have guys going here and making some significant amount of money at other places too. And bottom line is winning attracts winners, and you want to be attracted to us. And I think that's a big part of why our guys are having success and go on to have success.
I'm trying to pump you up here. How rare is that now in the game where this is what we're going to stress, and that's important to us?
Well, I do think it's rare. I think fan bases get caught up in winning the portal and winning recruiting battles and all those things, and a little bit more of the sexy over the substance or the style. But I am going to, pat ourselves as a staff on the back and bang the table a little bit. We are very convicted, and I think for a while some people didn't understand it, but we pass on talent quite a bit now.
And that. See, that's the thing. You've been going through this for 5 years, or I think the football fans, and you and I have had this conversation like, wow, this is what is happening. You've been dealing with this for the better part of 5 to 6 years now.
Bison football is going to be just fine.
Yes.
Because they have a blueprint. Yeah. They have a foundation of what culture looks like and what pride looks like. And Tim's messaging, come in here and we stress it to our guys the other day, is we then me. It's not we over me. There's still things in it for all of us, absolutely. But the moment it goes me, then we, we're not messing with that.
You got 5 more minutes here?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the hour here with Dave and get a couple emails coming in and chat about the upcoming game. Bison heading to Vermilion to take on South Dakota on Saturday. That's coming up. We wrap up the first hour of Hot Mic after this. All right, last few minutes here with NDSU men's basketball coach Dave Richman. Bison are at Vermilion to take on South Dakota on Saturday. Email comes in from one Jay Kolpak. I don't know if you've heard this. Dom, I noticed Coach Richman actually smiles around you. Why is he grouchy with all other reporters?
Maybe take the hint, Jay Kolpak. Hey, I got to finish my notes too. Some other WDAY guy just came in and said we need to be more interesting.
Yeah, he's waiting.
So I'm writing down, the interesting things I need to have here on paper.
So the one-game week here, that's a little different. You mentioned, obviously, with Damari's deal that it might be the worst, and with travel, it may not be the worst thing in the world what you have going on this week.
Yeah, I think it's like anything. It's a fine line of we're obviously in a great rhythm, and we need to make sure we sustain that rhythm. But also, too, if there is a shorter practice window for a couple guys, and we can do those things too. It is that time of year too, where the bumps, the bruises, are adding up a little bit. Some of your higher minutes guys, can we do a little bit less with them? Rightfully so. A lot of coaches are doing it right now. You're paying attention to Kurt Signetti. He talks a lot about production, over potential. The other thing is he talks about efficiency a lot when they don't practice very long. But when they do, they're efficient, they're organized. So I think that's got to be vital to it. But make no mistake, come tomorrow, we're going to be hitting our 3-day prep. And, USD is a different team than they were the first go-around. They've added literally a different team.
They really have.
What Eric Peterson has done to win a couple games and hold that group together is remarkable. But we'll be ready to go at 5 p.m. on Saturday.
How much have you changed your own practice style in terms of when you get to February? Are you guys going as long as you would in the old day, 10 years ago as opposed to now?
Yes and no. I think it's different. That's different for everybody. We have a line, and I don't think some of the guys understand it, or maybe they don't like it. We will treat you all fair. We won't treat you all equal. And so we got some higher minute guys that are going to do less on certain days. We got some other guys like, I was talking to another coach, great friend of mine, but we're still, the window might be a little shorter, but we are a developmental program. And we're going to continue to develop everybody in our program. One, to make our practices more healthier and competitive too. But you saw a great example of that the other day when we needed Carson Smith again. We needed Emil Skuta in some different situations. So all part of our process.
Sam has got the story. It's up at Inforum.com on Emil and his backstory, which is wild, coming from Finland. We've talked a little bit about that. And he has mandatory military service he has to do whenever his college career is done. He is almost like an international man of mystery, isn't he, a little bit?
Yeah, he is, and just a really cool story.
Yeah.
I think, I do things now that I said I would never do, and I'm never going to recruit an international player, but it's adversity or change, being uncomfortable, that makes you grow, and you can fight it or you can embrace it, and I'm certainly glad we've embraced it, because just getting to know that young man and hearing his stories and the different things that he's gone through just to be here and then has to go back to, really cool for our program to be a part of E.
I don't have the Finnish basketball package on my satellite TV. Do you have that?
Yes, I do. Yeah, it's
how good is it?
It's really good. It's right after the that thing.
Well, we know some, like Spain is good. We know Croatia.
Actually,
those are good. Finland, we don't know. They're good at basketball.
I was reading Sam's article.
Yeah.
And it talks about the hockey and all that. And but no, I think that's some of the beauty that just in full transparent. I'm reading that article, I'm learning some things. Yeah. Right. And that's just what it is.
Well, and the crazy part as well, he was playing against grown men when he was 14 years old.
And you can see that in my comment about, me going to take my shirt off because physically, those things. Yes. Should we do that right now?
If you want to, go.
Here's how it goes.
Well, Mike wanted to think it interesting.
No. I will do it if you do it first. That's on air.
I don't think we're doing that.
Come on, McFeely. That's an interesting comment, right?
We'll go to color bars and tone before that happens.
He plays. He's obviously very, very athletic, and he's got a physicality to him, and he's learning the American game of basketball as well. And I see that as we can teach him some things, but he brings some things to our program, to our team that we can't teach, and it's been a great fit.
He's doing his own haircut.
I'm gonna stay away from that.
You're not gonna do that.
I'm
not
gonna stay away from that.
All right.
No,
you sure? You might need a little touch up here.
I don't want to screw up Hanson.
I have an email in. I know you're gonna love touching this. Dom, can you ask Dave about the drama that's going on at Alabama and what's going on with college basketball, a larger picture?
Yeah,
I
love to touch on it. I think it's gross. I think it's a joke, and
that's a good word for it.
I think it's interesting that the attorneys or the lawyers are, or excuse me, the judges are from, may or may not have a background at Alabama.
Yeah.
And now I will say this: Nate Oates isn't breaking any laws or anything like that, but I think there's some ethics to it behind the scenes, and some other coaches are. I'm really like Tom Izzo, the way he's been vocal, Matt Painter, some of those things. I think we do as coaches. We have choices that we can and cannot choose. And I'll say this: I'm gonna bang on the Tom Izzo, Matt Painter, that side of things right now.
Is there a way when you guys get to the Final Four and you have 360 Division I coaches to we gotta. Yeah, you mentioned gross. It's not good right now.
Here it is, right? Like nobody's not saying that we don't need some congressional federal help, right? And there's some things where the buck can't stop until it gets to that, and the NCAA doesn't have a foundation. But there are some things too where what did I see Mark Pope talk about? Like, oh, well, maybe you don't get in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
you can penalize us coaches, you can penalize programs. And there's some things that we as athletic directors, we as coaches, that we can be accountable to. And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Because, and I've always said this: you give a college basketball coach an inch, he's going to take a yard really quick. And it's not necessarily, like I said, is it illegal? It's not illegal.
No.
But I love to see Golden's comments the other day.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, play him. We'll beat him. And that's just the case. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's wild right now. I mean, there's stories you could tell us we don't even know.
Wild, gross, whatever. Yeah. And we are going to look back on this time and just just embarrassed. Like
what are we doing? Kind of thing.
How did we do this? Or and you go from COVID to portal to NIL to eligibility. I mean, the list goes on, and that's probably why I do have a few chrome hairs and a little bit deeper bags under my eyes. But I still say, and why I'm very proud of our group right now is we got a bunch of guys that get it. They're about the right things off the court, in the classroom, on the court. And so as we're talking about all this other crap, let's talk about how there's still some purity in the Bison basketball program.
Last thing on that: have your guys, obviously they know they're playing well. You let them hey. We're halfway here. We're in a good spot, but we haven't done anything yet. How do you, guard against that? Looking at the standings, like, hey, NDSU's unbeaten, sitting on top.
Again, I'll go back to Kurt Signetti, and he obviously pulled it from Coach K. It's human nature, right? And human nature tells me that our guys should be in a great place. They should be very, very happy, and they should be very, very proud, and I support that. It's also human nature that that's on my radar. Now, do we relax? Do we think we've made it? We're only halfway through it. So now's where I come in. And any bit of slippage, any bit of not dotting an I or crossing a T or eating your crumbs or picking up your trash, all the coaching analogies that go into it, like that's where I'm going to come into play. And I think the beauty of that is we got a group that senses that to fight it. And you saw that on Saturday when we could have relaxed a little bit. But we also have depth and versatility. Yeah. And so you don't do your job, you come sit next to me on the bench until you understand it. And that's a great luxury that we have in our program right now.
I'd love to come sit on the bench. Is
that
open?
Bench, do our scheduling, come with us to Grand Canyon, all the other trips, all the things.
Eric's wondering if you get a game against Kansas. You've done that already, though.
Call him up, Eric.
Bill Self can come up here, right? Yeah.
I'm sure Bill would be excited about it too. We can make it a late January, early February
Oh,
too.
yeah.
We'd,
I'm
like,
sure they'd sign right up for that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Great to see you. Thanks so much for doing this in studio, bud. This was awesome.
Hey, anything for you.
I know that. And good luck on Saturday. We'll talk next week.
Hey, you got your USD
I do got my
colors
USD
on.
red.
Yeah.
I didn't wear Jackrabbit blue today, so at least I got this.
Well, geez,
right?
thanks for something.
Dave Richman in studio joining us here to wrap up our first hour. He's going to trade spots. This will be fun. McFeely's coming in to start hour number 2. We'll do that.
All downhill from
come
here.
back after this.
This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Don Izzo.
Oh, it's Mr. McFeely.
I have seen the future, and he was wearing number 5, and I ain't talking about Robbie Grimsley, folks.
Took out the muffins, took out the trail mix, took out the cookies. They stole the monster cookies.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Let's do some broadcasting.
Yeah. Well, we've traded one superstar for another. Normally, Mike McFeely joins us at 9:30. You were gracious enough to move to 10. I appreciate that since Dave was here in studio.
Wasn't happy about it, but didn't really think that I had a choice, so...
It was either this or nothing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay. But just a second. I'm hot. I got to take this off.
Oh, here we go. What? What?
That's my bowling shirt.
I love it. How'd it go last night? Yes, the story. With his name for the podcast listeners, with your name on the back. How about that? That is a slick looking shirt. I love it.
Just call me Bigger and McCracken.
Bill Murray's character, Kingpin, my all-time favorite. How'd it go?
My hair's about the same.
By the end of that movie,
I'm getting to the point where my hair is just about like Bigger and McCracken.
all you need is the bowling ball with the rose in the middle of it. Then we're all set after that. How did you roll it last night? Were you in the rotation last night?
No, I actually gave up my spot for another guy mixed up the dates, and he wanted to bowl, and so I said that's fine. So I just sat and admired my new shirt.
This is slick. I love it, man.
I was contemplating when I took off my shirt, going, "There's a storm coming," or calling up one of your meteorologists, calling up Jesse and saying, "Hey, could you come in and do a quick thing for me on Izzo's show?" And say, "There's a storm coming." But I decided to just do the reveal.
That was good. That's good, man. That'll be part of your intro now in the not too distant future. We can do that. So, thanks for
by the way,
by.
I'm still averaging exactly 150.
Yes.
One of the lower averages in the Monday Night Sunset Lanes League, and so I have all the gear.
Yeah, you look good. You're going to look good.
I'm going by the theory of look good, play good. One of those things. So that's the dealio.
Oh man, that's fantastic. I don't even know
By
where
the
to
way,
go
I'm
from that.
going to put in a plug for Sunset Lanes.
Yeah.
We had a pizza last night.
Yep.
Whatever. Everybody gets a strike in a certain frame. Your team wins a pizza.
Okay.
I was not participating, but I ate the pizza. Good.
Hey, you got to eat.
Good pizza at Sunset Lanes.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for something like Jackman.
Yeah. We've bowled over there a couple times. He likes it a lot.
Get a pizza.
All right.
It's fantastic.
Very good. Did you trade?
You can get him a shirt if you want. That'd be fantastic.
Let's go. Yes.
Have the little say. He's still a real little guy, but just have the little one that says Storm or Hammer. That's another bowling ball.
He would love that. And his name on the back.
Oh
man.
Fantastic.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Did you trade any barbs with the head coach as he was leaving? Since he took your time slot?
No. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
His team's pretty good.
Yeah,
8-0.
Again, we keep saying this, but both teams are really good.
Yeah, 15-0 combined between the men and the women's team.
And
right
it's going to be difficult. It'll be more difficult for the men to run the table in the second half. I think the women. Now that we've seen what South Dakota is on the women's side, I thought they were going to be better.
Yeah, you were at the game,
on Saturday
yeah.
just as a spectator, just to get away from what was going on that day. And first of all, what a crowd for the women's game.
Was there, really
I know
good.
that back in the day that was just whatever, but now in 2026,
back in the day, also 20 years ago, they were terrible in women's basketball.
But I'm saying 30 years ago, 2000 was like nothing.
Yes.
But now it's what a great crowd.
Yep.
I walked in and said, "Wow,
Yeah,
okay, it's a Saturday afternoon." And it was 10 or 12 below zero, and there was 2,000 people there, and they were engaged. It was fun. But yeah, it'll be South Dakota's just not as good as I thought they were going to be.
They don't have the size.
They're small and slow, and whatever. That's fine. But I think there's going to be about. You can never say with college athletics, but it would appear there's going to be one game in particular that's going to be very difficult for NDSU to win, although they're going to get it at home when the Jackrabbits come to town. And so on the men's side, it's just hard to go unbeaten. Oral Roberts going unbeaten a couple, and I think South Dakota State did.
Yep.
That's really hard to do.
And they took shots that entire. I mean, we were there.
Yes.
I mean, we covered one of those games. They were tested numerous times.
Yes, and so NDSU has to still go to South Dakota State, still go to South Dakota this weekend.
St. Thomas.
Apparently South Dakota's just picking guys up off the waiver wire. I, again, don't know what the rules are anymore in college basketball.
Good luck.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you want to play? Sure. Come on, play. Whatever. They still have to go to UND and have UND at home, too. And they haven't played UND at an odd quirk, and they're playing way better than I think most of us expected.
Totally. Yep.
Give Paul Sather that new contract, Bill.
I don't know what's going on in that. That's bizarre.
Well, yeah, you do.
Well, yes.
He hasn't had a good year for several years. And so
they're back to 500. They were like 4-10, something terrible. That's impressive what they've done there.
And so it's going to be a fun second half of basketball. NDSU's men, I know that they're going through some stuff. Dave was just talking about some injuries. But if I got into this conversation yesterday on 1660 with the guys, but the starting five is good, but look at the top three players off the bench for NDSU. Yep. Like, they have more depth than everybody else does, too.
Tay Smith is off the bench.
Tay Smith,
Skuda,
Noah Feddersen, and Emil Skuda.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about Noah Feddersen struggling this season early, and especially after David talked him up as being like he's going to be a guy for us because he's a junior. He's ready to go.
Has to take that role.
It didn't quite work out that way. He's coming off the bench now, and I think the last couple of weeks now, he's fitting more into that role, contributing, and just looks more confident, in my opinion. And if you can bring a 6'10" junior who can do some things off the bench in the Summit League, and then you add Emil Skuda, who's like old and by college basketball standards, and a veteran, and then Tay Smith comes in and can just dump in 8 threes randomly. That's a pretty good. Your bench is going to be better than everybody else's bench. So when you're matching up, when the coaches are doing the matchup thing, and you're saying, okay, it's time to give the starters a rest. Okay, well, who's South Dakota going to bring in on Saturday? Because they have like 6 guys.
Right, correct.
And it's not. It's what it is. But I mean, NDSU has some things going for it down the stretch.
Is it too early to now we're at almost the end of January to start thinking ahead? Like they may have a chance to do something in Sioux Falls. In your mind?
I think we've thought that. My objection to you is that you had them already going to the turn. It's like, just let them play the games. Just let them play the games. Now we're halfway through the conference season, and certainly, obviously, I think we talked last week. There was like a 2 or 3 team race.
Yeah.
I don't know, until UND proves otherwise, you have to
include them.
Think that they're in there too, right? I
Yep.
mean, and so now maybe it's a 4-team race. I still don't think that South Dakota State and UND have as much talent or depth as North Dakota State, but it's we'll see how they match up here in the regular season, and then in Sioux Falls it's a 1-game thing. Yeah. I mean, you can stumble at any point and lose, and you're out.
Which we've seen that happen before.
Yes, correct. And on the women's side, the women, we've talked about this before, if they run the table other than losing to South Dakota State, which is very possible.
Yes.
Very possible. Looking at what the rest of the Summit League is like in women's basketball, there's the chance then that they could go to Sioux Falls, get to the title game, and you'd go, well, they're going to get an at-large bid.
Yeah.
Even if they lose the title game.
Yes, very much
and so. It's very important for them to, I think they're going to, get that 1 or 2 seed and get to the title game, because they might put themselves in a position to get an at-large bid from the Summit League.
We had an email earlier when Dave was on asking about Fred Hoiberg and any connection there. Nebraska basketball is a thing right now. They're ranked 5th in the country. They're unbeaten. They're playing Michigan tonight in a biggie in the
it's like college basketball's college sports are all upside down, right? I mean, Indiana's
the best football team.
Just rolled to a national championship. Indiana. And now Nebraska, which is the funny thing, of course, is that when I was a kid, Indiana was fantastic in basketball, terrible in football. Nebraska was dominant in football and terrible in basketball, and now everything is just flipped around.
Makes complete sense.
Well, but
right?
and you could say, again, we've talked about this. You could say what you want to say about the Portland NIL, but it's switched things up.
It has.
I mean,
totally.
It's totally upended the powers. And if you like that, if you're not one of the powers, that's good. If you are one of the powers, maybe you don't like it so much, which is that's fair. It's fair to look at it either way.
See, I think when we first heard about NIL, it's like, oh, well, the top teams, especially in football, are just going to harvest all the best players. And I think, honestly, it may have gone the other way, that we may have some parity now at the very top of college football.
Yeah, I think you have to be careful with that because Indiana is an odd situation. I think more it's the portal to me. The money is a big part of it, but the allowing guys to move around freely and having a guy like Cignetti be able to take advantage of that and exploit that, I think that's really has made the difference there. You can pay all the money you want, but if you're not and give some credit to him for identifying the talent
absolutely.
And getting it to go to Bloomington.
Last thing before we break, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but the interview that I did with Matt Larson last week has been picked up a couple times over from different outlets out there in the Mountain West, or Football Scoop picked it up today. Did I miss something that was newsworthy that came out of that? Like, I've sat here, I mean, I know you watched it, you and I chatted after Matt was here. Was there anything that I missed out of this?
I think the only thing that I would say because I watched it twice, because I noticed the same thing that you did. I saw it got picked up by the Mountain West Wire and
a couple other outlets picked up, which is great, by the way. Thanks for watching the show.
I think that's as strong as Matt has been publicly about them wanting to go FBS. I don't know that he's been as strong as that publicly. And so maybe that was it, that people went, whoa, they really do want. Because there was I just about said a word, the BS report out there on Hero Sports that's talking about this split between, and that is...
That's what he said was nonsensical.
Now, not everybody in Fargo agrees that they should go FBS. But if you're talking about the president, Dave Cook, the athletic director, Matt Larson, the athletic director's deputy, Todd Phelps, and the head football coach, the last two head football coaches. This all started with the previous head football coach. Let's make that clear.
Yep.
If this ever happens, Matt Entz gets the statue too, and maybe some other people that we can name at a later date. But there's not...
there's any daylight there.
No, there's no daylight there. I mean, it might be professors don't want it, that's fine.
Yep.
There's certainly a part of the fan base that doesn't want it, although we've talked about that. That's flipped a lot.
Yep.
But that was...
That's why I asked you, because I'm like, I saw that again. Then, like, is there something newsworthy here that I missed that Matt said? Because I was trying, but I didn't think I
don't think so. I think
that.
I think him coming out and saying that we want to play at the highest level. I don't know that he has. I think his quote was, "We want to play at the highest level, and the highest level is FBS." And I don't think he's been that forward about their goals publicly until right now. And maybe it's our fault for not. Because we're so immersed in this, and I've obviously obsessed with this for the last 5 or 6 years. But it wasn't a surprise to me that when he said that. But also keep in mind, and for again, just the media landscape right now, especially in FCS, is just something else again. I am confident in my reporting.
I was going to ask you on that.
There's just nothing going on right now.
And
I'd be happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
And if somebody at North Dakota State or in the Mountain West or somebody else wants to tell me differently or show me evidence that there's something different,
go for
it. Then please go for it. You know, everybody at NDSU has my number. Go ahead and tell me that I'm wrong on this, but I've been told that there's just nothing going on right now.
No. Good stuff. All right, let's break. We come back a couple more minutes here with Mike and chat some other things going on around the sports world. We'll do that other side of the break. We're back on Hot Mike right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get a few emails here. Back with Mike McFeely. Mike, thoughts on the Vikings now and their decision to let Sam Darnold go? That Sam's going to be starting in the Super Bowl in a couple weeks' time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I'm just not that offended by that move. I mean,
Vikes they weren't going to pay him.
No, if you draft a guy where they drafted McCarthy,
he's got to be the guy.
He's got to be the guy. You're not going to draft him and then not play him for 4 years. And Darnold went someplace where he thought he could win, and he was right.
Definitely right about
They're
that.
definitely right. The Viking stuff, and I'm not going to get into the what happened with the play-by-play guy and all that. But I'll say this about the Vikings: is it has been extremely disappointing from a Minnesotan's standpoint, and that's me. I'm a lifelong Minnesotan, other than a little while I lived in Fargo. But the silence of the Vikings and the Twins and the Wild as businesses in the face of what's going on in Minneapolis is just extremely disappointing. That the Vikings have remained silent with all the stuff going on, and 2 Minneapolis residents being, I'll say, murdered by ICE agents is, to me, is just beyond the pale. That an entity that depends so much on the city of Minneapolis and depends so much on the state of Minnesota and has received billions in tax breaks and money for the stadium in Minneapolis. And the city of Minneapolis, the residents are also fans of the team, and likely many of them have spent money
Gone to games.
to go to games and bought the jerseys and bought the hats and supported the Vikings, even though they haven't done squat in 40 years, really. For the Vikings to stay silent is inexcusable for the Minnesota Vikings. Absolutely inexcusable. And I know that they signed some letter that 60 other businesses signed. I think you have a greater responsibility. And the Twins have been just as silent. The Twins have been embarrassingly silent too. But they don't carry the weight that the Vikings do.
No, you're right.
And so for those franchises to remain silent with what's going on in the city that has bent over backwards for them to make sure they get everything they want is absolutely inexcusable and embarrassing for the Vikings and the Twins.
Well said there. Another email comes in. How are the chances here of Cole Payton improving his draft status this week with the Senior Bowl practices starting later
for sure.
today?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I know that you had it in your story this morning that some of those draft guys, for what it's worth, really like him.
Yep.
6'3", 225, I think you weighed in at yesterday. Officially, which I think that's where he's kind of always been. It'll be interesting to see.
This is different, like Senior Bowl stuff, because we've had offensive linemen, and how do you judge that? Quarterback's pretty easy. Go down there. If you can throw it, you can hit your guys.
And it just, like Cam Miller, you went, wow, this guy. Trey Lance, you went, wow, this guy. Carson Wentz, you went, geez, he's a woo. Cole Payton, you mentioned it today, he had 13 starts.
Correct.
I know that Trey Lance only had 16, I think, starts. They went 16-0 in 2019.
17, very the weird October
17
game, so
starts,
17
right?
starts,
But there was, that seemed like it was a bigger
like it was
body
more,
of work, or there was like more like, wow.
Yeah.
And Cole Payton, I think, especially the last handful of games, it just didn't seem like it was all clicking. And whether that was on him or on the offensive line or on the play calling and the game planning, I don't know. But it just seems different.
Yeah.
But clearly, you don't get an invite to the Senior Bowl and be on guys' potential draft boards. The one guy from ESPN has him going like third day in the draft.
Correct.
Like not being like an undrafted free agent, rather. They haven't been drafted.
Mid-day 3 pick was with Jordan Reed from ESPN.
And I don't know
yesterday.
Jordan Reed if he walked in this room, but just that somebody would say that is interesting.
Bryce Lance's name is still out there as well. Bryce is not doing the East-West Shrine game. Carlton Lance told me it's like he's healthy. He's like putting all of his eggs in the combine basket, which makes sense to go in, because Christian Watson, frankly, his coming out party, I would say, was the Senior Bowl. Cementing him as a high pick happened at the combine a few years ago.
Yep. And so there's always strategy involved. You have to understand, I think, that I don't know if his agent has been what they know. They're trying to strategize what's going to benefit their player the most, and the family has to decide, okay, is it going to benefit us to go to the Shrine game? And sometimes they have to look at the quarterbacks who are available in some of these games.
It's a great point.
And I couldn't tell you, but who's there. But it's all about maximizing. And sometimes, and I'm not saying this is the case. I'm not saying this is the case with Bryce Lance. But sometimes it's about maybe not showing some things as well. Right?
Yep.
I mean, that's there's guys that don't run the 40 at the combine.
Correct.
There's guys that don't do certain drills at the combine.
A lot of guys don't do drills at the combine or anything like that anymore at all.
Right. And so there's reasons why they have a number that's out there and they want that number to stay. A 4.40 or whatever the number is. They don't want it to become a 4.740.
We're going to hit more on this. Friend of the show, Bill Conley. I know you look at his stuff, the SP Plus Index. He was on our program in December. They ranked the top 100 college football games of the year. In the top 3, number 3 is the FCS championship game with Montana State and Illinois State.
Yeah, from a football and atmosphere standpoint, that was fantastic. Yeah, no question.
Also making on the list was the Illinois State victory over North Dakota State. Came in at 54 on the list.
I mean,
that's
the
shocking value of that.
Yes, the shock value of that the number one undefeated team that was favored by 23.5 that Bill Conley had in his computer rankings as like the 40th best college football team in all of Division I college football, lost at home.
Gosh, how did they lose that game? I know.
On 3rd and 4, you drop straight back behind an offensive line that couldn't block the entire game. But I don't know. And you have a 6'3", 225-pound quarterback who could run, but apparently couldn't run. They didn't want him to run.
Last thing before we go. Speaking of Montana State, Viggs was in Shakopee yesterday recruiting. So he's still got his tentacles in the upper Midwest. Obviously, he's offered a couple guys in North Dakota as well. Just thought that was interesting that he's still around here.
I don't know how many guys he's got out of Minnesota. He's
just a couple.
The kicker's from Alexander, but he's related.
Right.
I mean, so that's not to knock Miles Sanson, but he's related to the head coach. He's obviously a great kicker. But, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you've been to Bozeman.
I have. I would go.
If I was a college kid, I'd go to Bozeman.
Go.
If I was an adult, I'd go to Bozeman. If I could afford
to afford it?
If I could afford to live in anything but a cardboard box in Bozeman, I'd love to be in Bozeman. It's beautiful, just absolutely gorgeous. And they have a indoor. They have a great fan base. They have a great atmosphere for game days.
Now they got a title.
They have a championship. And there's always the idea that they might be one of those schools that would be looking at potentially at the next level.
I think they should. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they're happy where they are because now they're winning a championship. You know, they knocked them, and they're going to be the favorite again next year.
Correct.
So good for them. So good for him.
The amount of guys coming back, Kopech and I touched on this yesterday, I don't know if you saw, with the amount of, especially Valley quarterbacks that are back next season is really interesting. Brungard's back, Kaminsky's back, Mason's back at South Dakota State, DJ Williams is coming back at SIU. That 4 out of the, I'd say the 7, I know SIU didn't make the playoffs, but 4 of the 7 have their guys back. Illinois State, USD, and the Bison.
Important to have experience at quarterback.
It'll be fun. Good to see you, bud. Thanks for coming by as always. Appreciate it. Thanks for being flexible this morning. Yeah, the
storm has arrived.
I appreciate that you were willing to give up, but you got to get in the lineup, man. You can deliver. You can get more than 150, right?
I just heard a basketball coach sitting in this chair saying, when the me comes before we, that's when we have a problem.
Yeah,
that's when we have a problem. Yeah. So for me, the we always comes before me.
You're all set. Got it. Thanks for coming by.
You bet.
Mike McFeely joining us each and every Tuesday. We'll break. We'll come back. Got a few more emails coming in. We'll dive more into that 100 list as well. Back on Hot Mike on a Tuesday morning after this. Alrighty, final half hour of our show. Holy cow, we've been motoring through here. Appreciate Mike coming by. It was good stuff on this Tuesday. There's a few other emails we haven't had a chance to get to, which we'll save probably for. Here's one asking on Dave. Is Max Marley, is he hurt? He's not hurt. I think Dave would like to play Max a little bit more. Just the how the rotation is worked here. It's not in the cards to do that right now. They're rolling with the 8 to 9 asterisk guys that they have. That's what they're having success with. That's what they're going to go. I don't think that Max couldn't contribute. Just right now, this is what working for him, and that's the deal. Another email comes in from our early conversation. Bison were a 12 seed. I should remember that in 2014 when they beat Oklahoma in the NCAA tournament. They were really good. That 2014 team that finally got over the hump with Taylor Braun and Marshall Bjorklund. and Corey Brown and Lawrence Alexander, Trayvon Wright. That was a ton of fun. Marshall getting cut above the eye. That got on One Shining Moment. It was fun. I just did a little research here as well in the break, and then I closed the window out, so that's smart. But of looking back here of the Summit League for what they have done, and obviously we know that the league hasn't won a tournament game here in a couple of years now after Oral Roberts made it to the Sweet 16 in 2021. That notwithstanding, ORU's got the only win besides the Bison in the tournament since going back here away. I'm just looking seed-wise. Let's just go back since NDSU got into the league, which was 2009 when they were eligible. The Bison were a 14 that year when they lost to Kansas. Remember Oakland? God, Oakland was good. Oakland was a 14 and a 13 back-to-back years. The Jackrabbits went back-to-back years with the great Nate Walters. They were a 14 and a 13. Just mentioned that Bison team of 2014, they were a 12 seed. The following year, which was the Dexter Werner Gonzaga game, never forget that, playing against the Gonzaga team that was unbelievable. They were a 15 that year. The following year, the Jacks were a 12. That was Mike Daum's freshman year. They lost to Maryland. They were a 16 were the Jacks, and then a 12 again. They lost to Ohio State. The year the Bison surprised everybody, they were a 16 when they beat North Carolina Central in the first four, then lost to Duke and Zion. As I mentioned, Oral Roberts, the year ORU made it to the Sweet 16, they were a 15 seed. I don't think people remember that. Frankly, I didn't either. And then the back-to-back years that we had unbeaten Summit League teams, the Jackrabbits were a 13 in 2022, and they lost to Providence, and I think everybody had that game was in Buffalo, New York, if I remember correctly. Everyone around the country had the Jacks as like the upset pick, and they didn't play well. Providence was a good team as well. The following year, Eric will remember this. We saw Oral Roberts just dunk on everybody with Asmus. They had the 7-footer, Connor Vanover. They were a 12 seed. I think everybody had them beating Duke, and then Duke destroyed ORU in the first round. And then the last 2 years, the Jacks were a 15 in 2024. That was the Eric Henderson, TJ Otzelberger matchup that Iowa State won. And then last year, Omaha. Omaha played well for about, I'd say, a half against St. John's. They were a 15 as well. So, I mean, routinely, the league is in that 14, 15, 16 range. So if this ends up being anywhere close to accurate, what Lenardi has right now, with the Bison being a 13, and if it's them or St. Thomas, holy cow, that's a little bit higher than what we're used to in the past. So I wanted to dig that up. Normally I have that saved in the memory bank, but the older you get, you lose stuff there. So just a little digging. All right. So today, if you missed the article, it's available right now, Inforum.com. Senior Bowl practices start later today, 1:30 for the national team. At 4 o'clock, the American team goes. Why that's relevant for us, that guy on the screen, Cole Payton, will be going later today on the national team at the Senior Bowl, with that coverage being on the NFL Network. Now, he did his all weights and all that at the weigh-in yesterday for their check-in day at the Senior Bowl. And the intriguing thing to me now over the next, I'd say, 3 days on this is the internet sleuths out there. They're going to be posting video out of Mobile. We saw it last year with Gray Zabel, and it was crazy on that, on how much he blew up on this. Officially, he was weighed in at 6'2" and a third and 229 pounds. 229 is what he weighed in at. From the Draft Network. Quarterback to watch this week, starting with the first Senior Bowl practice this afternoon, is NDSU quarterback Cole Payton. He's got a big arm and a ton of potential. Has the chance to really elevate his draft stock in a thin class. And that's the thing to notice about here. That this has been talked about ad nauseum for those that follow the draft, is there's not necessarily a hammerlock guy. We know Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner, is going to be likely the number one pick with the Raiders come April. Ty Simpson, the Alabama quarterback, is coming out that potentially could be selected up there. We know some guys decided to return to school. Dante Moore, the Oregon quarterback, decided to go back. Probably a smart move on both accounts because I don't think the Jets would have been a great fit there, and he decided to go back. But that's the underlying theme here for the next few days. And Randy Hedberg talked about it when he was here last week, and Hedberg's going down to watch the practices, he told us, beginning tomorrow on Wednesday, that can he get the ball to the outside here, and his ability in the pocket is going to be really examined. Out of the pocket goes without saying, but, and I think Hedberg pointed this out because Carson Wentz found out the hard way, ability to tuck it and run, which you did, and you were the best athlete on the field, more often than not, in this level, is not happening in the National Football League. Carson Wentz found that out pretty early on in his rookie season. I think it was a Monday night game in Chicago. Carson ran with it and just got drilled out of bounds. Harder probably he's ever been hit before. And that was almost like the welcome to the NFL there, that Wentz was not going to be able to run like he did in Fargo in the National Football League. I think Peyton understands that, but that's something he's going to have to show over these next few days. I want to read, if I can find it here quickly, on the NFL draft stuff that they're talking about the guys and ranking guys for this week here at the Senior Bowl. This is from multiple contributors are pointing this out. As Mel Kiper actually had his list as well of wide receiver. We'll get to Bryce here in a second. But I want to finish this out on Peyton. That, I can just find it in my article, I guess would be the best way to do it. All right, give me 1 second here. Here we go. Let me read here. This is what Dane Brugler wrote from The Athletic. Peyton is one of the players to keep an eye on, who waited his turn at quarterback and put himself on the NFL radar with his play in 2025. He's a good-sized lefty passer who can spray the ball at times, but also sling it all over the place. It's no mystery why I wrote down Michael Penix in my notes while watching his tape. Here's from Jordan Reed, who's a draft analyst for ESPN. Described Peyton as a midday 3 selection, which would be in the 4th or 5th round. Reed ranked Peyton 10th on his quarterback rankings. He wrote, "There are teams that have him as an athlete on their board, and it shouldn't come as a surprise if Peyton experiments at other positions during the pre-draft process, starting with the Senior Bowl." He was finally healthy this year prior to that game in the playoffs, and I actually liked his film quite a bit. This is an AFC scout assigned to the Midwest told ESPN this. The scouts never say anything. And, of course, again, it's unattributed to a name. It's just an AFC scout. This is also what they said. We thought he was more of a Taysom Hill type with the ability to do more than just pass it around. And that, obviously, was how often do we hear that going into the 2023 season or 24 season associated with Cole, that they were trying to get him on the field when Cam Miller was here. And I think you found out, as Randy Hedberg emphatically told us last week, he is a quarterback and can play the position. And so we'll see. The drills begin later today. We'll have you covered on that and show some highlights as warranted coming up over the next few days. Because, honestly, I know there's a lot of people interested in it. Should be intriguing to watch. Now, on the Bryce Lance side of things, because I've had this asked before, and I thought we addressed it, but we will certainly do it now, because Bryce is not participating in the East-West Shrine game tonight. He was invited. The game will take place tonight, and he's not playing in it. And I reached out to the Lance family. Carlton Lance, Bryce's dad, got back to me almost immediately, and which is awesome, and said Bryce is healthy. He is elected not to participate in the game. He's choosing to be as healthy and as fast, and I'm emphatic on that last part, as fast as he can be for the NFL Combine, which is coming up at the end of February. Actually, the day the wide receivers go is the same day the quarterbacks go, which is Saturday, February the 28th in Indianapolis. If you don't think that's going to be a well-viewed day here in Fargo, you've got another thing coming. So that's why Bryce is not participating in any of the All-Star games. Frankly, I'm not sure. The wide receivers are really good that are coming out. Mel Kiper Jr. has Bryce as just out of the top 10. Now, it is not out of the realm of possibility for that to drastically change, and we've seen that over the last couple of years. Think of Christian Watson, of what he did. Think of Cody Mauch. Cody was, I want to say, Eric might remember this better than I, round 3 pick. And then the Senior Bowl came, and he was at the end of the first round. And obviously it worked. He was early in the second round. He was drafted by Tampa Bay. The best example is what happened with Gray Zabel last year. Because Zabel went from a mid-day 2 pick, which is where Cody Mauch was, 47, 48, 49, to all the way being in the middle of the first round. That's how these can change. So here we haven't done anything yet. Haven't played any games, no practices, the combine, none of that, pro days. All of this is going to be really fluid by the time we get 3 months from now, which is the NFL draft in, where is it, at Pittsburgh this year? It could be completely different by the time we get there. So just note where we're at now, and it could go the other way too. You could harm yourself on this. There's no doubt. Don't play well, don't practice well. It could go the other way. Get hurt. I mean, just imagine if Hunter Lipke had an opportunity to go through all this, because Lipke was going to the Senior Bowl and do the combine, Lipke's going to get drafted pretty high. I mean, just look what he's done in the NFL in the 3 years he's been playing. You're going to tell me that if he was able to do that, Jalen Sundell didn't do any of this stuff. Sundell's starting in the NFL. That just, again, give him a chance and see what happens. So we'll be following that 1:30 later today at the Senior Bowl NFL Network, and we'll keep you posted on that. We'll take our final break here. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up, get you ready. It's a Tuesday. There's no shortage of games, events happening here. We'll get you ready for that when Hot Mike wraps on WDAY Extra after these messages. Tuesday morning. It is official here, a little breaking news that the Buffalo Bills have their new head coach. It's their offensive coordinator. Joe Brady is going to be promoted, and they will take over there. According to the NFL Network, Joe Brady's been speaking to prospective assistant coaches this morning. As this ramped up today, he's the new Bills head coach. He was the guy behind the LSU offense 2019, the OC there under Ed Orgeron with Joe Burrow, with Justin Jefferson, with Jamar Chase. There's at least 2 more NFL guys that were playing there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I believe, was a running back. Yeah, they were all right. So he is the new head coach of the Buffalo Bills. So in the AFC East now, you have Mike Vrabel. You have Aaron Glenn, still there with the Jets for year 2. Jeff Hafley, who's leaving Green Bay to take over the Dolphins. And now Joe Brady is the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. So that's the new lineup in the AFC East for those keeping score. I certainly am to see Brady working with Josh Allen moving forward. Before we do what to watch, one scheduling note, tomorrow, North Dakota State head football coach Tim Polasek will be here in studio at 10 tomorrow. He'll be part of our Bison Media Zone show tomorrow. So looking forward to visiting with Tim. We haven't chatted in about almost 2 months since the season ended. Up to date on the portal movement of the guys that left, the guys that are coming in, and chat some off-season workout, recruiting, all that kind of good stuff. We'll have the head football coach of the Bison join us tomorrow at 10. Looking forward to that conversation. Normally, there's always something newsy that'll potentially come out of that, so we'll look forward to that coming up tomorrow at 10. All right, let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. All right, what to watch brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Here we go tonight, high school hoops and hockey. Here on Extra, we've got the Battle of West Fargo tonight. Horace and Cheyenne. Girls tip at 5:45. The boys about 7:30. Live here on WDAY Extra. That should be fun The Horace boys and girls both really good right now, so looking forward to that game out in West Fargo tonight. The Horace boys are one of the top teams in the EDC. The Horace girls, the reigning state champs, are rolling. The Cheyenne boys, we had Tim Brand on the show last week, are playing really well. And shout out to Morgan Milbrath, and the Cheyenne girls are right now in the mix as one of the top 4 teams in the EDC. That's coming up tonight, 5:45 and 7:30 here on Extra. We also have hockey tonight on WDAY2, Red River and Davies. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock there. Also tonight, the Wild are in action. They take on the Blackhawks at 7 o'clock. We mentioned the Senior Bowl practice is going at 1:30, and the East-West Shrine game is tonight, 6 o'clock on the NFL Network. Our thanks to Dave Richman and Mike McFeely for joining us. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.